Hey everybody, we're about to go live on 90.1 FM. We got a great show lined up for you today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. And we're about to go on live. So all our first-time viewers, go ahead and hit the like button. All our returning viewers, hit the heart button. Go ahead and share the video because we're going to talk about some great things. We got a great guest lined up today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. The call-in number is 601-948-5950. 601-948-5950. We got Dr. Roshunda Harris-Allen, who's running for Alderman at Large in Byrd, Mississippi. And we also have Ms. Erma Johnson, who's running for Ward 1 in Byrd, Mississippi. And we're talking about Byrd and Hinds County moving forward. So sit back, relax. We'll be coming online in just a second.
On 90.1 FM, the voice of the community, WLPR.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Revive Mississippi. I'm your host, DeKeither Stamps. We got a great show lined up for you today. I'm excited about the direction that we're going in. We got some wonderful guests. We got Dr. Roshunda Harris-Allen, who will be coming on to talk about her candidacy for the Alderman at Large position for Byrd, Mississippi. And we'll also have Ms. Erma Johnson a little later in the show coming on talking about her candidacy for Ward 1 in Byrd, Mississippi. But first and foremost, as we begin every show, we ask that you remember everyone who's going through bereavement, because bereavement is a very, very tough thing to deal with, especially in times like this, especially this week to the Sampson family in the Forest Hill community. Mr. Sampson passed away. He was a long time, I'm talking about, when I say would grab you, I mean, you know, when I was in high school there at Forest Hill and Mr. Sampson put his hand on your shoulder, everybody know when a man puts his hand on your shoulder, you stand up straight and do what you're supposed to do. He came in and got a lot of young men in line, in order, and saved a lot of men. And that's back when men could openly and honestly and authentically be men. And our journey for us to get back to that day where men could walk into schools and openly be men. Now, I'm a firm believer that folks can be openly gay. I should be able to be openly a man. And Mr. Sampson is a man, was a man, and showed a lot of men how to be men and held them accountable. He was in charge of the in-school suspension, but more importantly, he was that constant, tough love that a lot of us needed. He was that every day he was going to be on it. And then even after I left school and then came back, he was on the police force, still out in the community, getting young boys that structure they needed to be men. Everybody didn't have to go get detention or didn't have to go, get suspended or go to jail, but he was able to use his pure God-given abilities of being an awesome man to steer other men into the direction to being a better man, young and old. So the life and legacy of Mr. Sampson will be truly missed in Jackson Public Schools, City of Jackson, and around the world, because a lot of those men, young men, have grown up like myself and used that same discipline all over the world. So to the Sampson family, to the Forest Hill family, we love you. God bless and Godspeed. And to all the other families that are going through bereavement, we love you. Let's continue to take care of each other. Continue to just let each other know we love each other. And that's one of the most powerful things that we are missing in today's life is authentic manhood and showing folks that we really love each other and really care about them in a real way, and not just as a job or a profession, but just as a lifestyle of loving the folks around us. So please continue to keep those folks who are going through bereavement. We'll see, we got Mr. Timothy Brown tuned in online. We got Miss Angela from Mike TV. We got to get you lined up for on the show soon, ma'am. We appreciate y'all for tuning in every week. We've been here. It's our 7-year anniversary. This is May, so this is our 7-year anniversary for being on 90.1. We want to thank the WMPR family, the late Mr. James Charles Evers and Wanda Evers, for allowing us to be here. Our sponsors for today's show are, first and foremost, Micheal Jordan Transportation Service. If you need quality transportation service, make sure you check out Micheal Jordan Transportation Service. They got great services. They travel all over Mississippi, helping people and helping them be better to get where they need to go. You can go to www.mjstransportation1.com. That's www.mjstransportation1.com. And also the National Wildlife Federation. They have one of the oldest and largest conservation organizations in the country. We appreciate their hard work. And you can go to their website to look at all the things the National Wildlife Federation is doing and their efforts to raise awareness about our environment. So I'm going to bring up Dr. Allen. Dr. Allen is a wonderful young lady, and she is vying for the Alderman at Large position in Byron, Mississippi. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Hello. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. We doing well. You're just talking to Mississippi, Louisiana, Tennessee, and Arkansas.
Well, it's great to be here today. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited about the information I'm about to share. This has been quite the journey, and it is still a journey. And you know what? Every second, every day, I'm enjoying myself as I continue with the campaigning for Alderman at Large here in Byron, Mississippi.
So for those who don't know you, just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, before you entered into the journey towards being into public service.
Okay, well, again, my name is Roshunda Harris Allen. I'm a native of Detroit, Michigan. So I was born in Detroit, came down here in 1998 to attend the I Love JSU, Jackson State University. And I've been here ever since, in Mississippi ever since. I fell in love with the place. I met my husband. I met my husband here in Mississippi, and he's from Detroit also, but we met at Jackson State University my junior year there. So I did earn a bachelor's degree in elementary education, a master's degree in early childhood education, a specialist certificate in infant and toddler development, and I earned my doctorate in early childhood education with emphasis in education leadership. So I've been down here and I've been in school for a long time, but I am out of school because I earned my doctorate degree in 2014. So currently I now work at Tougaloo College as an associate professor of education. I'm also the grantee for the Institute for the Study of Modern Day Slavery, and I'm the mentor for the Harriet Tubman Project. One of my greatest accomplishments at Tougaloo is being not only the Modern Day Slavery Project, but also being the director of professional programs. So I get to work with the dual enrollment program, the high school students, for those who don't know what that is. And I get to work with college students as well as the master level students. So I teach at all different levels within Tougaloo College. I am, like I said, I met my husband, so I am married. I have 4 children. Our oldest son, my husband and I adopted shortly after we got married, and he's now living in Atlanta. Yes, graduated from college, graduated from the Miami International and moved to Atlanta, and he's just living his best life. And so we are grateful. We are truly grateful. And it's a blessing. Our children are a blessing to our family. So I've been in Byron between 17 and 18 years, and it's a wonderful city to live in. We looked at many cities. We lived in Jackson, we lived in Clinton, but we settled in Byron. and we love raising our children here. We love the schools. When we came here, we said, you know what, we want our children in Hinds County schools. So we just decided after we got our first house in Byram, our family grew. So we decided to get a slightly bigger house in Byram. And we've been in our current house for over 15 years now. So we love it here.
So, so what piqued your interest about trying to enter into public service?
Well, this is my first time running for a public office, but I've always been a servant to my community. I've been doing service or community service since I can remember. My mother has always done community service. She's always been in the Booster Club. She's done community service with her Greek chapter. And me, I'm a member of Junior Auxiliary of Byram Terry. I'm a mentee for the Crown Club. I'm a Girl Scout level leader. I was also a Girl Scout. So I've been doing
service is just ingrained into your lifestyle.
Ingrained in me. And, you know, living in Byram, even before living in Byram, I participated in community service. So I don't know where I will be if I didn't have some community service project to work on. I'm always finding a way to serve my community. If it's a cheer coach, if it's a mentor, whatever it may be, I always find opportunities to provide services.
Well, I appreciate it. We got a caller here. Hold on one second. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. Hello, caller. Hello? Are you there?
Hey, yes. I couldn't hear you at first, but good evening to you and the candidate, councilwoman candidate. I just got a quick question. So this will be my first time voting about. So how does that work? So I got a council person, and then I vote for at-large. How many at-large councilors is there? How does that work?
Okay, that's a great question. Could you give us the overall electoral structure of the city of Byram so folks can kind of understand how they vote?
Yes, so currently in Byram, of course, you'll be able to vote for the mayor, and there's two people running for that position, Richard White and Robert Amos. And then you have alderman at large, which would be myself, Roshunda Harris Allen, and Richard Cook. Now, the city of Byram is separated into 6 wards. So not only will you be voting for mayor and alderman at large, you'll also be voting for aldermen for each individual ward. So in Ward 1, there are 2 people running, Jim Stingley and Erma Young. Then you also have Ward 2, Deandra Hosey, and Ward 3, please, I am so sorry, but I cannot remember that gentleman's name, but he's running unopposed. Ward 4, that's Teresa Mack. She's running unopposed. So 2, 3, and 4, they're running unopposed. Ward 5, you will have to vote on a candidate because you have 2 people running in Ward 5. You have Tim Bentley and Rochelle Gibson. And in Ward 6, there's 2 people running as well. You have Chris Carson and you have David Moore. So there'll be 3 different things as far as alderman at large, and the mayor that you will have to vote for within the city of Byram.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you, and good luck on your candidacy.
Okay.
Thank you.
We appreciate you for calling in, sir. So Byram, we got some choices we got to make. So tell us a little bit about your vision and your ideas for moving Byram forward.
Okay, well, my goal for Byram is for all of us within the city to work together, families, individuals, and the neighborhoods and communities to expand the quality of our community. Because like I said before, I love the city, but I do want to enhance and expand the quality of the community. And I want to do this through education, preparation, advocacy, collaboration. And I want to be able to inspire individuals, families, and businesses to work together to build a better Byram. Because like I said before, it's a great place to live, but there's no place that's perfect. So let's work together to enhance it or enhance the city. So my mission as Alderman at large will be to help. My number one mission is to help increase voter registration and voter turnout. And, you know, you have a lot of people and they have a lot of opinions and, you know, they just want to be actively and involved. But in order to do that, you must vote. We have quite a few people.
If you don't vote, you don't come.
You must vote. We have quite a few people in Byram. They're registered, but they're not registered in Byram. We have people who are registered, but just don't want to vote. So I really want to help increase that voter registration, voter turnout. At the primary election, we didn't even have 1,000 people vote. So we have to do better as a city as it relates to voter turnout and voter registration. I also want to, you going to say something?
Oh, I was going to ask you, so you've been participating in a project that we worked on called the Municipal Project.
Yes.
Where we have been trying to get people from around the state to work together to just go through a training program. And I've enjoyed having you participate in the Municipal Project. Could you just share some thoughts you had about that project?
I really love the project. It teaches a lot as it relates to becoming a leader, regardless if it's a public official, nonprofit. It really teaches you some of those grassroots. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a lot of components in there that teach you how to do the grassroots organizing. And I would encourage anyone to be a part of this particular leadership program. It has helped me so much, especially as it relates to what to do if you're running for public office. When I knock on someone's door, what should I say? When I'm out campaigning, what should I have with me? What should I be thinking of? Should I have my notebook with me so I could write down the concerns of different people within the community? Should I be going to different events that are going on in the community? Who can I get in contact with? And it's also a great time to collaborate with other individuals because it's people within this particular project that are from all over the state. And it's also a lot of people who are brought in to share some of their experiences. So it's been awesome for me to attend these Saturday mornings from 8:30 to 10. I cherish each Zoom conversation. I think it's just terrific that this is being offered.
So we appreciate you for your dedication and even offering yourself to public service. Because for me, I believe that everybody in leadership should start off in local government, because local government gives you where the rubber meets the road. And I got some friends who at the state level who started at the state level, and I got some other friends and folks I work with who started at the level above us. But when you start off at the local level, you have a whole different perspective than folks who start at higher levels. So for us, we just thank you for offering yourself up for public service and vying to become the next alderman at large for Byram, Mississippi. So tell the folks what you want to do and when you want to do it.
Okay, well, I want everyone in the city of Byram to go to the polls on June 8th. And I want you to vote for Roshunda Harris Allen, Alderman at Large, here in Byram, Mississippi.
Wow, that sounds wonderful. You must have been practicing.
You know, I started saying that in January? So all I had to do was change the date from the primary to the general election. And with it being an at-large position, I do want to let the listeners know I need the help and the support from the entire community. I'm not running for one particular ward. I'm running for at-large. So if you want to learn more about me, please feel free to go to my website at www.campaign-to-elect-RMHA. Or you can go to my Facebook page, Campaign to Elect RMHA.
Well, Dr. Harris Allen, we appreciate you and thank you for coming on the show. You can stick around just a second. We're about to bring one of your hopeful future colleagues up in just a second. Let me see if we can get Miss Erma Johnson in here. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we got some good folks that are running for office nowadays. We got some folks from all over. And I've known Miss Erma Johnson for several years. Miss Johnson, are you there?
Yes, I am.
How you doing, ma'am? I
I'm
can hear
great.
you
How
well.
are you?
I'm doing well. Come a little bit closer to your microphone for me.
I'm doing
All
great.
right.
How are you?
Doing well. Now, Miss Johnson has been a long-time resident of Hinds County. She lived in South Jackson, Cedar Hills for years. Right down the street was my neighbor for a long time. And now she lives in Byram, and she's been there for several years. And she's been active all over our community, but I don't want to steal any of her thunder. So, Miss Johnson, how you doing today? I see you out there knocking on doors.
I am wonderful, and that is exactly what I'm doing. I'm knocking on doors. Yes.
So
I'm great.
tell the folks who don't know you a little bit about yourself, Miss Johnson.
Well, I sure will. My name is Erma Johnson, and I live in Byrondale Estate. I'm married. I have 2 children and 3 grandchildren. I'm a graduate of Alcorn State University, a proud graduate. I serve on the Byram Chamber of Commerce as a board member. I serve as a Keep Byram Beautiful board member. I've been active in this community ever since I moved to Byram because I believe that the talents that you have, you need to share it with the people that are around you in your community to build a better community and to keep Byram moving. So that's just a little bit about myself, but you can go to my Facebook page, Erma 4 Alderman, the number 4, and you can read about me, or you can give me a call at 601-918, and we'll have some coffee, chew and chat.
So that number is 601-918. What's the rest of it?
6369.
So tell us a little bit about your vision for the future of Byram, Ms. Johnson.
Okay. My future, my vision is that we as a community, we have to grow together. And when I talk about community, I'm not just talking about Ward 1. I'm talking about the city of Byram, the city of Jackson, the city of Clinton, city of Ridgeland. As a community, we need to grow together. We need to learn how to work together and build communities that everyone is proud to come home to. Because at the end of the day, that is all you're going to have is the people that live around you as your neighbors and your friends and your support system. So I believe that community is the cornerstone to us living well and prospering well.
You know, the reason I brought you on the show and also Dr. Allen was because for far too long, Byram has been doing its own thing, Jackson, but we can champion together just like Brandon, Pearl, and Flowood champion together. Jackson, Byram, and Clinton and Terry should be championing together to build our economy and have a better quality of life for the folks who live in our areas.
Right.
And we can do that if we work together.
Right. We can do that. And it's very easy. We're all a Christian people. We all believe and we all want the same thing, believe it or not. If you sit down at your kitchen table, what you want to do is you want to feed your family. You want to go to church. You want to have a little recreation. You want to have a nice place to call home. And that, my friend, is what we all work and should be about. And if we look at each other as that's my neighbor, as that's my sister, I think we could come to those conclusions when we're working on difficult solutions. Yes.
And we can grow together.
Yes.
And that's what it's going to take. It's not going to be in isolation, Terry, or in isolation, Byram, or in isolation, South Jackson, or in isolation, Clinton. We have to do what other counties have done to work together. Just like when you go down to the coast, it's one coast.
Right.
You don't see Biloxi and Gulfport. You know, they may have some little internal issues, but when they come out of that back room, they're together, working together to have one coast. And that's the goal for Hinds County and Mississippi as a whole. We have to work together to grow our economies and have a better quality of life for our residents.
Right, because we have more things in common that we have different. And that's what you have to work at. I believe, and I was taught, to always look at the glass as half full, not half empty, because there is a difference. And so you have to work toward those things. You have to be proactive in thinking that way. Don't think positive, don't think negative, think positive. And so, I'm all about that. And I'm willing to work with any state, federal, city, municipality to move us forward and build on what we have, because we have a beautiful city. I love it here, and this is home for me, and I want it to stay this. I want it to stay this way. But I I'm just gonna ask all the residents of Ward 1. At this point, you have a decision. You have to make a decision, a conscious decision, and you need to go to the polls and you vote Erma J. Johnson, Alderman, Ward 1. You
And if you
on
need to
June
vote
8th.
early, May 29th, I believe, is the start date for voting early.
Right.
Right.
And you can go to your city hall and vote early.
So I encourage everybody in the sound of my voice to vote early. And then if you don't vote early on election day, make sure you shake somebody, take somebody to the polls on June the 8th.
That's a good slogan. Make somebody, shake somebody. That's right.
And Ms. Johnson has been a wonderful pillar of Hinds County ever since I've known her. I've known her since I was a little boy. And her and her daughter, wonderful. She still lives in the neighborhood down the street from me. And so still a pillar of our community. Talk about a little bit of the work you've done on Ferry Street to stabilize the Ferry Street area and your hard work there.
Well, okay. I'm glad you asked that, because, that became a passion of mine probably about 25 years ago, because it has so much rich heritage, so much history of our community. I mean, I can remember, I'm not from Jackson, but I can remember people went to town on Saturday. That's the only time you got out.
That's right.
That way. And you went to Ferry Street and you got everything you needed, from sugar to all the clothes you need to wear. But my passion with that was to help renovate the Alamo Theater and the Smith Robinson Museum. And I worked on many projects trying to raise funds for those efforts. So it's something it's a treasure that I don't think we need to lose, because it's been here so long and it's part of us. And you got to maintain your history so that you don't repeat mistakes that you already made.
So tell folks what you want to do and when you want to do it one more time before we go.
One more time. As I said, the ball's in your court right now. On June 8th, I need for you to go to the polls and vote Erma Johnson, Ward 1. If you can't make it to the polls on June 8th, go early. Like Mr. Stamp said, go early and vote at the City Hall. They're open from 8 to 5, and then there's a couple of Saturdays that you can go and vote. But you must go vote. Ward 1, Erma Johnson, and you can contact me again. I'm going to give my telephone number, 601-918-6369.
We got a caller. Let me catch this caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. Turn your radio down, please.
Hey there, my distinguished constituent.
Hey.
Colleague, Representative Stamps.
How you doing, Representative Brown?
I just couldn't resist to call in for that wonderful lady that you're interviewing now. I've had opportunity to know for many, many years, and everything I know that Erma Johnson involved with, everything she touches turns to gold.
Thank you, Bo Brown. Thank you, bro.
And citizens down there in the area where she's running. I think you said what, District 1?
Yes, sir. Ward 1.
Mm-hmm.
Ward 1. I mean, they couldn't get a better person. She can work with all segments of the community. She's been a community activist all her life. I think I met, I don't want to say how many years ago, like you just said, because it would kind of give us some indications of our ages. But I know she was a big supporter years ago of, I believe, Mississippi Valley State Alumni Association.
Alcorn
Association. And she did a great job with that. And she's done a great job with Delta Sigma Theta. She's done a great job with the Fast Street renovation and the Alamo project. I just think that she can be an asset to that particular community. And I just wanted to give up my endorsement.
You know, we appreciate that, Representative Brown. Don't go just yet because I'm gonna finish talking to her, but I want you to stay on the line because I got to give you your flowers while you do. I got some. I want to say something about your sister and also about a piece of legislation you pushed through. So just stay on the line for 1 second, and I'll be right back with you, Representative Brown.
Okay, Mr. Stamps, Mr. Stamps, would you thank Mr. Bo Brown for those kind words? I really appreciate it. Okay, Mr. Brown, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot, Ms. Johnson. We appreciate you for coming on. Stay tuned in because you're going to learn something about politics that Mr. Brown taught me. And I want to make sure that everybody hears this story exactly how it happened. So stay tuned in.
Okay.
Just a second.
Okay, one last word. Vote Erma Johnson, Alderman, Ward 1. Thank you very much.
Okay. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Oh, man, I called the wrong thing.
You can call the wrong thing. Well, call the right thing. All right, brother? Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I learned something from Representative Bo Brown this past session. Are you there, Representative Brown?
Oh, yes.
Let me tell y'all a little story. Y'all gonna be amazed when y'all hear this. So Representative Brown has been pushing a whole lot of different issues over his time on the council, the 2 terms he did there, and then the time he spent in the legislature. And I'm gonna tell you some of the sacrifices that have to be made in order to progress in our current climate. So he wrote a piece of legislation dealing with mental health. Very good piece of legislation, well crafted, well written, and most importantly, necessary to move Mississippi forward. But it couldn't get any traction on the issue. So sometimes you have to give up the credit for getting something done to get something done. And let me tell you what I mean when I say that. So he went and sought some advice from one of our senior members. And he said, hey, why don't you go talk to this other representative who has a little influence and could possibly help you on your issue. And Representative Brown took it to him. And what had happened, they had to take his legislation and it died in committee, I believe. It died in committee, Representative Brown?
Oh, yes.
And then they took the verbiage, because see, law just works on words. So they took the verbiage out of his law that died in committee, tucked it into another piece of legislation over here. And he knew it wasn't going to have his name on it. But he was so humble that he said, you know what? It don't have to have my name on it as long as it gets something done for Mississippians. And now, as a result of that act of humbleness, Mississippians now have some traction. Now, we didn't get everything we wanted, but he got some progress on the mental health issue in Mississippi. And I just wanted to just publicly say thank you for that work, and any comments you have about that that legislative action that happened, Representative Brown.
No, but I appreciate you, DeKeither, tremendously for acknowledging that. I learned a lesson in the process as well, and that is that if your heart is for the legislation that you're pushing, and that you're pushing the critical need in the community, doesn't matter who gets the credit for it.
Mm-hmm.
All that counts is the fact that we're solving a problem. I'm a big believer that most of the crime we're having, Councilman and Representative Stamps, and I'm sure you'd be interested in this statement. I don't know the exact percentages, but nearly 50% of most of the crime that we are having in our community, in the African American community, is associated with people with mental or psychological problems, either before they are incarcerated, while they're incarcerated, but most particularly when they get out of incarceration, and we don't have adequate mental health care for incarcerated persons. Our 12 community health mental health centers are overloaded, and if they don't have a special unit, additional beds for the correction inmates, and so when they go to get treatment, they only have a short period of time to go there, and there are limited resources, and so they are out in several days and back right in the same environment, in the same mindset. And I think that most of the crime is being committed by a lot of these former inmates. And, you know, you talk about recidivism, or whatever that particular term is, repeats. A lot of it is people who've gotten out of the system, correction system, and they have mental conditions that were not addressed and not being served by the community mental health organizations, and they commit a crime, and they're right back. And some of these heinous crimes are particularly, you know, committed by mentally challenged individuals. So I had a couple of case in points about that situation, and it just motivated me, and it was a burning thing in my heart to make sure we get more help. So we were able to add at least $640,000 to the mental health budget to particularly and directly and strictly work with inmates released from MDOC who got psychological and mental problems, and that's going to help tremendously, we hope, in reducing crime in certain areas of the state.
Well, you know, it's one thing to pass legislation, but your legislation included the money to move forward on a degree. Like I said, it don't solve the whole problem, but your legislation had the resources attached for what your legislation was trying to do. Which,
like, and not only that, I think the reason we just did it for 1 year this time, but we want to make sure I'm going to meet with the director of mental health next week, and we're going to make sure that this trial effort is recorded and monitored and tracked, and we're going to come up with a success plan, and I mean a success, show a success of what we have done, and hopefully we can have an annual funding of more money for mental health to help the MDOC inmates who have psychological problems.
Well, I just wanted to make sure we captured that, because sometimes people will look online and they'll see different things, and they'll.
Well, somebody did. Somebody said, I don't want to even call their name. I wouldn't even think about it, but said that I told a lie. There's one thing that I don't do, and as a Christian, I tell folk all the time to keep. I'm sure you the same way.
Mm-hmm.
The very least thing that a person who calls themselves a Christian is to stop lying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of what's going on with this Republican Party right now, man. They are operating in lies.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that's another day for discussion, but I'm sure you agree with me. What are we going to tell our children in the future when folk are telling lies and making it sound like it's the truth?
You know.
Anyway, I thank you also, man, for my late sister. We'll talk about that at a later date. No. I don't want to dominate your show.
No. I want to bring that up because I want to bring that up too. We got 19 minutes left to go, and you know, in the radio business, that's a lifetime. Your sister was a crown jewel of Jackson, the hostess of the Civil Rights Movement, and we are trying to get community support to recognize her life and legacy and to memorialize that in a street renaming. Could you share a few words about your sister, and her legacy here in Jackson, Mississippi?
Well, first of all, Representative Stamps, and Councilman in this particular case, I appreciate you moving forward with that legislation, and hopefully we'll be able to get that done. Thelma Sanders, no doubt, was one of the most important women, black women, in the civil rights movement here in Jackson, Mississippi. Not only that, she was fourth with the renowned and one of the most successful black business women in the city of Jackson, Mississippi, opening a woman's boutique, or a millinery shop, as she called it, in 1951 on historic Fair Street. And she was motivated to open that shop on Fair Street for professional women because the highbrow department stores in Jackson, like the Emporium, some of you may remember that, and there were, in Ellington's, there were 2 or 3 stores, the black professional women, such as teachers and professional business women and all this kind, they could go in there and buy clothes, but they couldn't try no clothes on. Mm-hmm. So my sister was motivated to make sure they don't have to go in there since they won't let them try them on. She went and opened a millinery shop or a ladies shop that featured the same brand name that these highbrow department stores in Jackson were selling. And she went to New York and got her an exclusive on some of those brands, and she opened that store and she began to service professional women, black women here in the city of Jackson, and she did that for many years. But of course, that did not necessarily give her, shall we say, fame and glory. She did that as a need in Jackson, and she operated that until her death in 1989. But the bottom line is, my late sister, Thelma Sanders, and many of you know this, and I'm sure some of you listeners can bring back memories, nearly every civil rights leader, from Stokely Carmichael to Rap Brown, from I would say the early 60s all the way through the early 70s, at one time or another, they came through IS in Thelma Sanders' home at 715 Rose Street for strategy session, as well as for hosting them in terms of food and refreshments and what have you. Dr. King, Whitney Young, Paul Wickelson, Ralph Abernathy. As a matter of fact, Medgar Evers came through the night that he was murdered here in Jackson. He left his rally at Pratt Memorial Church and the Masonic Temple and came by my late sister's home to share refreshments and to strategize a little bit for what they would do the next day. He had his bodyguard, Sam Bailey, with him. Many of you remember Sam Bailey, a fearless man. And they came by, had refreshments. Several other civil rights leaders were there, of course. And around 11 o'clock, 11:30, Medgar left to go home, and on his way out, the report is the last woman he ever hugged next to his wife was my late sister, Thelma Sanders, as she bidded him good night. And Sam Bailey said, well, Medgar, do you need me to, his bodyguard, do you need me to follow you home tonight? Medgar said, no, I have it. And sure enough, an hour later, 15 minutes later, 12:15, thereabout, we know Medgar Evers was shot down in his driveway. But he left Thelma Sanders and I.S. Sanders' home that night. Besides that, there's another thing that I'm just really appalled with, and that's the fact that in the Civil Rights Museum we have here in Jackson, there's no mention of the fact that the Sanders' home in 1964 was one of the only homes and cars bombed here in Jackson. Thank God nobody was killed or not even injured, but they bombed their car in their home in 1964, and it's a fact of the matter, and it's everywhere. They even have pictures of it. So
and that's one thing. That's one piece of history. If it wasn't important or critical, they wouldn't have bombed it.
Oh, but I'm telling you, they were.
Right. That's how critical that home was.
They bombed what they thought was the greatest threat
Mhm.
And the Sanders was, in fact, and let me tell you something else what people don't realize, and you can understand this. And I tell a lot of folks, they tell you today, I was a part of the civil rights movement. And then you ask them a question and say, well, where did you work? Oh, I worked so and so and so and so. If you worked anywhere, you were not a part of the civil rights movement because they would fire you back in that day. And so the movement was pretty much ran by independent people who worked for themselves, like business folks. I.S. and Thelma Sanders were independent business owners. Dr. Sanders was a retired educator. So they didn't have to answer to the man, so to speak, on the job, because the man had told most of these folks who had jobs, you cannot participate. If you do, you're going to lose your job. So what I'm saying is, out of necessity, the Sanders, along with several others, now not just them, but a few others, they had to lead the strategy and the movement because they were independent and the man, so to speak, couldn't fire them.
Well, we appreciate you for continuing that legacy of hard work and dedication to move us forward. And we appreciate everybody who is helping to bring the energy to commemorate the life and legacy of Mr. Thelma and Mr. I.S. Sanders for their contributions here in our community. And any parting words, Representative Brown?
Well, yes, Representative Stamps, Councilman Stamps, I consider the circle being closed. There's a gap in the circle right now. That gap has to include I.S. and Thelma Sanders. And until that gap is filled with the acknowledgement and recognition of those courageous citizens here of Jackson, Mississippi, who happen to be my relatives, my beloved sister, until that gap is filled, I will not rest, and I hope that a lot of other people that know this history will not rest as well.
Well, we appreciate
because
you.
We certainly need the recognition of everybody who participated in this movement, and we need to have it. Oh yeah, and by the way, their home, DeKeither, is also in the Civil Rights Drive Tour brochure for the city of Jackson. And when I was on the city council, I was promised that we were going to have a marker placed at their former home address on the corner of Pearl and Rose Street, but it never was placed there. So what a better conclusion than having a street named after the late Thelma Sanders for all of the outstanding sacrifices and work that she did during the movement here in Jackson.
Well, thanks a lot, Representative Brown. We appreciate you, and let me catch his next caller.
All right, God bless you. Thank you so much.
All right. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, man, I want to thank y'all for the show today. This is Rufus Map. I'm a local musician here, percussionist. And I want to tell Brother Brown that I appreciate that information because he just blew my mind about Miss Sanders. Stevie Wonder, and I think it was someone else, but I know
he still plays with Stevie Wonder today.
No, I think he left.
He left?
He left and went back.
Okay.
Yeah, unless he went back because he also worked with Michael Jackson. That he's supposed to be taking the music director's place when before Michael died. But I guess I.S. is still there because he's always saying that he won't never come back. I wish he would, because this kind of information that we need, and I'm also trying to do something for the Chamber Brothers, you know, and they were a rock group from here too as well. But we definitely need to do what Brother Bowler was just saying, because I really feel that spirit, man. And I'm hoping the other musicians and artists and other people, let's get together and make that happen, because I didn't know. I was just about to ask about the marker. So now he explained it. So and tell Brother Brown, I'm hoping that I can get with him and touch his hand again, and you know, in the future, man. Peace.
I took your number down. I'm going to share it with Representative Brown so y'all can connect. Okay.
Okay, man. I appreciate you, brother. Thank
Yes, sir. God bless.
you. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we had a great show today. We appreciate Dr. Roshunda Harris Allen, who's vying for the Alderwoman at Large position for Byrd, Mississippi. Ms. Erma Johnson, who is vying for the Ward 1 position in Byrd, Mississippi. And we got an announcement from our Association of South Jackson Neighborhoods Vice President. Turn your volume down. We got Mr. Johnny Byrd. He's the Vice President of the Association of South Jackson Neighborhoods, and he wants to come on and talk about a wonderful activity they have planned for this weekend. How you doing, Mr. Byrd? We got 3 minutes left to go on the show. Mr. Byrd, are you there? Like you're breaking up. Well, the Association of South Jackson Neighborhoods has a movie night. And we've done these movie nights before, but this one is going to be at the Peggy Hobson Calhoun Community Center on Saturday from 7:45 to 9:45. That'll be from 7:45 to 9:45. We have a movie night planned at the Peggy Hobson Calhoun Community Center in the Willowwood neighborhood from 7:45 to 9:45. And this is all a fundraiser to support our schools. We know a lot of school children today and need equipment for the sports activities, things like that. Just doing these movie nights, we have been able to raise. Are you there, Mr. Brown?
Yeah, we're having technical difficulties, man. I'm sorry.
All right, so I was just sharing about the time, date, and location for the movie night and about the fundraising efforts. Talk to us a little bit about the movie night before we leave.
Okay, as usual, we Association of South Jackson Neighborhoods is comprised of wards 4, 5, 6, and 7, and we are having our monthly movie theater. This time, instead of Friday night, it's on Saturday, starting at 7:45 to 9:45. Mm-hmm. And hopefully you come in out and enjoy, and the proceeds go into Forest Hill and Wingfield students as fundraisers. Every month we do this, so every month I'm gonna come on and invite the public out. The fee is $10 per person. Of course, that includes the popcorn, hot dog, and drink, or drink, popcorn, and another condiment. And again, all the proceeds goes toward the schools, which are Forest Hill High School and Wingfield High School.
It's a great way to meet your neighbors and get outside, social distance, have a nice family environment to enjoy each other and to raise money. You might think it's something small, but tell them how much money we've raised so far and donated to the school.
Oh man, it's not an exact amount, but the first time it was our first go at it, we around $350, almost $400 that went toward the schools. The second one I wasn't in; I was out of town when it hit, but it was a little bit more. As again, the proceeds go toward the students. And we have decided that the students are our future. And so right now, please, families, if you want something safe for your children to do, you stay in your car. We bring all the amenities to you. And you can watch a great movie. We got plenty of room, so come on out. Hopefully we want to overflow. We want more people that we can have so we can have something safe and fun for our citizens to do. It's not just for the children, it's for the elderly also, and the disabled. You stay in the confines in your car. So all these CDC rules will be obeyed.
Yep, and some people even brought out a little chip, but we always had a good time out there. We raised $2,000 so far and been donated to those respective schools. So I just want to thank the Association of South Jackson Neighborhoods, yourself, Mr. Ernest Ward, and all the members of ASJN for what they do, trying to make the community a better place. So thanks a lot. And if you want to get any more information about the Association of South Jackson Neighborhoods, you can go to www.asjn.org. Thanks a lot, Mr. Byrd.
Well, thank you. Keep doing a great job.
We're going to keep plugging away.
Okay.
All right, we about to round the show off today, ladies and gentlemen. And as we always say, our sponsors, Micheal Jordan Transportation Service, make sure you go to www.mjstransportation1.com for your transportation needs and employment needs. It's time to get back to work, Mississippi. So help folks get around. And also, you can remember those folks who are going through bereavement. One of our long-standing Forest Hill instructors and JPD officers, Mr. Sampson, passed away Keep his family in your prayers as we go through this period of bereavement. And also, as we end every show, we always say, never let anybody put you in a position where you don't love your own people. Because when you hate your own people, you're part of the very oppression we're trying to lift ourselves out of. I love you, Jackson. I love you, Mississippi. Handyman, take us out of here.
Amen.
All right. God bless you. Y'all take care.
All right. Appreciate